Today in the local media it's a big story about the movie which was shown yesterday on BBC about possible start of World War III in Latvia. And I've got today a lot of questions from the media. Can we expect that such movie can have a negative impact on the travel to the Baltics, and as a result, we might be out of the beaches, so the people can consider that Baltics is not a safe destination, and they wouldn't come here. So maybe you just can comment on that a bit.
Personally, I don't really think that should affect business coming to Riga. We discussed it with Austin earlier. I don't really think Riga is the front line of maybe terrorist attacks. As I mentioned in the slide, that there is a concern, cities like Paris, for example, that when you're organising a corporate event, you have to be very, very mindful of the delegates and their safety. And we work with the Paris Convention Bureau, and that is something that they're facing now at the moment. It's very, very difficult. But I don't really see the likes of Tallinn, Riga and Ljubljana being affected by something like that. Not at the moment, no.
Okay, so we are perceived as a safe destination, and at the moment it's a big plus.
Well, as I mentioned there, from 200 agencies and corporates surveyed, you've been marked out, Tallinn and Riga has been marked out as a destination for planning for 2016, 17 and 18.
Okay, thank you. Lena, it was very interesting to hear about the role of Finland Convention Bureau, and I understand there was a long way to go from the Helsinki, Finland to just Finland and cities separately, Convention Bureau. So you mentioned that Finland Convention Bureau is totally financed by the state.
Yes.
And the question is about cities, how the City Convention Bureau are financed, and how, let's say, the different stockholders' interests are taken into account. So that's my question.
Okay, most of the city convention bureaus, they are a mixture of public and private funding. So there is a city involved to a certain amount, and then they have their membership. And the members, there is the industry involved, but also could be the universities and the, let's say the stakeholder side that they are members. But all of them in Finland, that it's a mixture of public and private funding. And they are, to be honest, I have to say right now they are all struggling. It's not sort of dancing on the roses, and that's why I brought up the lobbying, that the National Convention Bureau, that's one of our duties, to really help them and try this lobbying sort of everywhere where it's possible to tell about the importance of the business events.
But I understand that it's basically City Convention Bureau, the ones who make the bids. It's not National Convention Bureau.
No. We are only if it's a destination without a Convention Bureau, then we are making the bid. For instance, the city of Lahti, they just started their Convention Bureau, but they have never done a bid book. So I was assisting them 2 months ago to get a meeting with 3,000 people to Lahti. So.
And straight the question to Igors. Do you make any big books bids, and do you have capacity of doing it, and is anybody in Latvia at all is doing this big book bids? Maybe you can tell more about that to the people who are sitting in the hall.
Generally, if you are talking about Riga City and Meet Riga, then we currently not doing the bids, and we don't have a bid book, but we are providing, if there is a need, we are providing all the information for some local stations which are willing to apply and invite some international conferences and congresses to Riga. So we are doing partially, but not as an everyday job. Therefore, we also, if you are talking about destination, as Finland already on map of meeting industry or business events from the age when I was just a small kid. So we still need to do a lot of promotion and create an awareness, and then we can start to much easily to bid bigger events.
But from your experience, what you need now, let's say, even in the framework of Live Riga, to start to make these bids, because I mean, it's even city in Finland like Lahti, which is, I don't know how many, 50,000 people, or a bit more. Okay, but I mean, even city like Lahti, actively participating in these bids and attracting some international congresses, and we as the capital city are still, let's say, not participating in this game. So what you expect, let's say, how many people and what resources are needed to start it?
There's need to be done some, let's say, we cannot just jump on a bid and without awareness, without, let's say, basic things, we cannot jump on a bid and start to do a bidding. Okay, maybe we can, but how efficient that will be. So we need to proceed some third-time steps, step by step, and then sure thing we can do the bids. And how many personnel? It's in Estonian Convention Bureau, there's a 1.5 person who is doing research and doing the bids. Then plus it's a Tallinn Convention Bureau, if we are talking about Estonia. And plus they do have Pärnu and Tartu Convention Bureaus in cities which are also applying and doing the same job, so which is already multiplied by 4. If we are talking about our universities, I know that University of Latvia are doing own conferences, and so which means that they not inviting anybody to join the party. And the same is Riga Technical University. So they organizing international conferences, inviting international speakers from different places, but it's their business. And also the same in Medicine Academy of Latvia. So which things are happening, but so it's more locally in a regional, let's say, way, not internationally.
Okay, thank you. So we have Mr. Pomerantsev, who is back to Riga. Welcome back, Gregory, after.
Thank you. I said
I think the last one, the previous position was you were a chairman of Live Riga, and then you went to be in charge of Belarus tourism, and now you are back as independent travel consultant. And the question is, since you've been several months working in Belarus, Belarus is quite, closed country with visa and with many restrictions, but still, despite of its fact, it's managed to attract quite a number of significant international events. I think the most important is Ice Hockey World Championship, and then a number of other conferences. So it's quite interesting. Maybe you can share some of your, let's say, insight how the country like Belarus is attracting these large-scale international events, even not being an open country, a country being with very limited air connection and with visa regime and with closed economy. So how you manage to be successful in attracting big international events in Belarus?
Thank you for the question. Indeed, I had a chance, and it was a unique experience to spend half a year hands-on working for the Belarus National Tourism Agency. And the fact itself that I was invited to join this organization and to lead it, for me, signified the big interest and aspiration of the government of Belarus to do significant changes in the tourism industry. Let me ask a question. Please raise your hands who has ever been to Belarus. Quite many. We are in the tourism business. Now, who's been to Belarus during the last 3 years? A bit less, but still quite a few. I think these 3 years, the last 3 years, were very significant in terms of changes. And as Vlad mentioned, exactly, the big leap was the World Hockey Championship, which took place in 2014. it was the event which was wanted by the government, and there were a lot of efforts made in advance to make this happen and to prepare for it. Everybody who's been in Minsk in those days admitted that it was fantastic experience. It was easy, smooth, calm, and very efficient. English language inscriptions everywhere in the metro, announcements in English, and so on and so on. A unique experience. The country indeed has a visa regime, and most of the EU countries, all of them, and most of the countries in the world citizens need visa to get to Minsk. The first time ever, whoever had a ticket to any, at least single hockey match, could just cross the border having a ticket. And I know personally a lot of Latvians who's never been to Minsk. They took the opportunity and they came and enjoyed the time spent. But these big expectations partly vanished after the World Hockey Championship. The reason was that despite all this infrastructure, after the event, there were no more tourists coming. I mean, not so many as expected, so something was wrong. And it appeared that infrastructure is not enough. It was important, and it's great that such investments were made, but it's not enough. Something must be done in terms of tourism, and now there are a lot of social activities and discussions and brainstorming what needs to be done. And Convention Bureau is now on agenda. But what happened in Riga, let's say 12 years ago, I remember this time very well, joining European Union and all these developments, there was a time of consolidation of the industry. People getting to know each other, getting to learn how to work together, how to cooperate, how to share, and how to sometimes compromise. So this is the time which we are facing now in Belarus. You can say it's plus, sometimes it's an advantage, sometimes disadvantage. There is a dominating state ownership in tourism business. Over 80%, 85% of hotels are state-owned. But on the other hand, there is also clear experience that if the government wants, if the state wants, it gets there. So now it's a process of the dialogue of the state and private business. Private business is definitely faster in reacting and more flexible, and this dialogue is very important to achieve expected results. So basically, I think we are at the beginning of very interesting changes in the tourism sector in Belarus, and we hope, as you said, Riga is watching carefully what Finland is doing. We also look at Riga and we look at Finland, and we will see where we get. Okay, thank you.
So the next question would be to Andis. I think Andis, I would like to ask you not just as sales director of the biggest conference hotel, but just the only representative of hotels industry which is on stage. I know that last year we were pretty lucky because we had the Latvian presidency in EU, and the first half a year we've been quite busy, and hotels were quite busy, and conference facilities were in high demand. And this year, I mean, there is nothing big in the pipeline. So my question is, how are you doing? How is your hotel doing? How the hotel industry is doing? And you know, what you think you should do? I mean, you just plan to sit and wait for the next presidency in 24 years, or you think there should be some proactive measures are to be taken, and what are these measures in your opinion? I mean, you are a big hotel, I mean, you have a lot of people working, so you need to do something proactively. So
thank you, Vlad. I didn't know what to start with, the good news or bad news. I decided let's start with the bad news. We had this discussion valid, I think, for several years. The good news that everybody knows what we should do. And from today's presentations, it very clearly shows the status not only about Radisson Blu Hotel Latvia, the biggest in the Baltics, Congress venue, but I think overall hotel business and what is the key feeder markets and what is the clients coming in. I think we are doing quite well. I'm speaking about all hotels in Riga represented. I think we are doing very well in a corporate level. And answering to your question about how we survived this year, we are doing pretty well. Meaning that corporate level and our key feeder markets we cover through our global sales offices, through our digital marketing, through our focus to bring more people in, either to go abroad and to participate in international fairs or sales blitzes. It's very clear that we have, all of us in the industry, we have plenty of databases of all contacts. It's purely about awareness of destination. When I looked at the number of association events hosted in Finland, it's just amazing numbers. And I think we need to create like a platform, and I was questioning myself this morning, would the discussion today be valid if we didn't know that what plans you have for the next 5 years? Because it's great that everybody understands that it's alarming time to expand in resources and the limited budgets, to expand it and to build a networking area for all industry involved, governmental, local, public, to get clear vision. Which are our feeder markets we want to focus? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What money we want to spend on those clear messages? What we want to give out? Riga is not cheap destinations anymore, and we don't want to sell it cheap, and we are not selling it cheap. It's first of all, it's value. It's value for money, but this is important because we have to position differently. And I think at the current stage on resources, what we have in Riga, I think we have done maximum, and we have done a great job. But to expand more, we know that we just need a bit more resources. On the same time, very, very clear structured resources, and to balance them and report what we do and why. I think this platform of discussion we had late autumn at our property, I think it was very valid discussion, and this is like continuation a bit of this upcoming, I believe this year, next year, our priorities. But I believe it's for the moment we have to step out from the kindergarten level. We have to get out of looking at corporate level and competition in a city. It's not about competition. It's about how we all are proud of our product, what plans we have for the future, and what limited resources we will put in which pocket. Thank you.
The last question is to Martin, and I think we should start with the same exercise which was the beginning of the conference. Close your eyes and think what will happen in 10 years. So, I mean, we will not close the eyes, but we open our ears and listen to what will happen with Riga as a conference destination in 10 years in terms of new conference center. And maybe you just can say a few words, what is in the pipeline, you know, how big it's gonna be, where it's gonna be, and how many people it's gonna to accommodate, and how you're gonna feel it.
Okay.
That's the question.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I represent the Skanska Development Agency and the company called Marks, which is one of the largest construction companies in the Baltics and also a significant landowner in the Skanska district of Riga. So what we've been working on for more than a year now is a project of Riga Conference and Concert Center with an adjoining hotel. So the idea is to create the first of its kind, a proper international conference center in the Baltics, in Riga, in the Skanska district of Riga. It will be a conference center of a capacity of 3,000 people, like that's the maximum capacity, with a full array of breakout rooms, exhibition space, and all the the catering and all the other facilities which are necessary for a facility like that. So the idea is, so the stage in which we are now. So the stage is this: we've had the architectural design competition late last year. So the project, the winning proposal, is now undergoing several, let's say, corrections in terms of its external design and its facades. And we are planning to present this project in March or April this year. So the idea is to start the construction works in 2018 and to finish by 2021. So it's 5 years from now. So, I mean, if I can just say a few words about the Convention Bureau. Well, our perspective on this Convention Bureau is a rather pragmatic one. I mean, as one Polish expert told me, I mean, that was his first question when I told him about our project. His question was, do you have a proper Convention Bureau in place? I mean, properly financed with a proper marketing budget and so. And he said, if you don't have such a bureau in place, then you have to basically add this, let's say, 1 million euros of marketing budget to the budget of your convention center. Well, I think this is a strikingly clear logic. And I mean, I think it is. I mean, I have a great respect for the work that the Tigers has done and Meet Riga is doing, but I think we really have to move forward to creating a proper convention bureau. There are some other things I could say, but I mean, we're running short in time. So.